flu vaccine when it is ready. This comes a day after the World Health Organization warned that the flu situation is unstoppable. Analysts have cast doubt on reports that say North Korean leader Kim Jong-il has pancreatic cancer. They are citing a rise in the number of his field trips, saying he could not have endured the workload if he was sick. He reportedly made 82 inspection tours this year, compared to 57 in the same period last year. Therefore, reports on Primetime News.
Well, animation has always been a part of our lives. It's not just in the cartoons that you watch in the morning. It's in your favorite Hollywood blockbuster or even your favorite Xbox 360 game. You can bet there's an animator behind all of that. So what about here in Asia? Well, recently, Singapore has seen the arrival of Lucasfilms, and Japan has always been a force to be reckoned with. So what happens next? Will Asia remain a glorified backroom for content coming out from the West, or will Asia start producing its own original stories? I'm Timothy Go, you're watching That's IT, and we will answer those questions right now. Here at Scroll Studios, a team of Singaporean animators are working hard to pull together the second season of their original TV series, Nano Boy, a 2D animated cartoon for kids.
Nano Boy is a boy, you know, it's just a 10-year boy going to school every day, and then he just stumbles on one of his dad's experiment one day, and he could shrink to this micro size superhero.
The program has been sold to an American network with the help of local government agency, the Media Development Authority. So Chi Kong and his team need to get it out by the 31st of this month. It is no child's play in the world of 2D animation. After the initial conception and design of the key characters, a storyline is born. Animators within the team construct a storyboard based on the script. Then the drawings are cleaned up, or in animation speak, rendered, by another member of the team who painstakingly removes all those extra lines before zipping it all over to the colorist. Here, colors are added shade by shade until a black-white drawing comes to life. Look at this amusement part switch from blah to wow with a bit of color. Finally, the story is animated. This takes months of work, and Scroll Studios have counterparts in China to do this part. But all this work has paid off for Scroll.
When I go overseas and show our projects to international broadcasters and distributors, is that they are quite surprised that in Singapore we can come up with designs like this. They totally did not expect that an Asian country like us in Singapore can come up with designs that have that international look and appeal to it.
Many players believe Singapore and the region hold much potential. Events like this, CG Overdrive, is a testament to the nascent industry.
Hollywood stuff is fine, you know, Pixar movies is great, DreamWorks films are awesome, but I think that there's a lot more that Asia can offer, you know, animation from Malaysia, from Thailand, from Indonesia, the kind of rich culture that we could embrace, and Singapore could be a huge melting pot for all this to come together. And as such, I think in terms of the kind of content that can be originated potentially, it's immense.
Now's the time to really explore what's a new kind of aesthetic or a new kind of story we can tell. There's a lot of promise in Asian animation because particularly in Japan, you know, people are used to seeing any kind of story told in animation, whether it's comedy, horror, drama, whatever you can think of.
Japan has always been a pioneer in the industry, capturing fans worldwide with its vibrant animation as well as its anime culture. But for years, countries like China, India, and the Philippines have been working on outsourced works instead. This seems to be changing, however, with an increased emphasis on original content coming out of an Asian country that isn't Japan. The increasing number of schools is a telling sign. The DigiPen Institute, the world's first college to offer a degree in game development, have recently opened international campuses in Asia.
The real sort of new thing is where the production work is being developed in Asia for Asians, as opposed to production work being done, by Asians for work to be released in Europe or North America. So when you want to have an industry, one of the things you need is manpower to do the work.
And the school's focus on fundamentals, from learning how to act to a basic understanding of perspectives, it isn't as easy as taking pencil to paper.
It takes me no time to teach somebody how to use Microsoft Word, but to teach them how to really write a great script or a story is something that takes years. It's something that takes practice.
But while the infrastructure may be in place, it remains to be seen if Asian animators will go on to create original content that will be accepted globally. So we've certainly come a long way from just doodling on paper. Speaking of which, when we return, I will show you how to make animation from scratch. And we'll take you to a galaxy far, far away. So, go away, don't you dare.
Badly bruised but still in the game, the Japanese Prime Minister suffers 2 attacks by the nation's increasingly powerful opposition. Are there more political punches coming Taro Aso's way? That's on Primetime News.
A free e-learning portal offering hundreds of workbooks, homework help and live chat. Now more than ever, visit www.1800-teacher.com.
Showing Amber, Mongolia, also kind of brings another level of appreciation for me, for my own country. I realize how little time I've spent with my parents, and I think that is the main reason that I want to actually go back. I grew up here. I know the place. I mean, no matter how much it's changed, I can still adjust back.
Have you lost money from bad investments? Are you afraid to invest? Then learn free from investment experts. Come to Asian Investment Conference and Exhibition. Learn about investment strategies from experts and meet leading listed companies. Don't miss this opportunity to diagnose your financial health and have fun playing investment games. 18th to 19th July at Hall 601, Suntec Convention Center. Admission is free.
Want a weekend getaway without actually leaving home? Then book a place with Channel News Asia's trio of weekend destinations. From soaking up the hot springs of Japan to discovering fun and funky thrills in Korea and experiencing the untouched nature of Taiwan's countryside. We've got something for everyone's travel tastes. So join us every Saturday and Sunday for a relaxing getaway to 3 different destinations, starting at these times on your Channel News Asia weekend.
SP Jain Center of Management, crafting global leaders.
When Star Wars creator George Lucas wanted to create a weekly show that explored a backstory of his popular series, he turned to animation.
We could do live action, but animated allows us to, explore not more easily, but more widely the worlds, the characters, and it also allows us to kind of go a little more stylistic. Our show is very stylized.
And Lucasfilm has their own secret formula for the cinematic feel to their fast-paced series, a proprietary tool that cannot be named.
What it is you're working in really basic, rudimentary blocking and movement and camera stages with 3D assets and characters. So you've got a character in the shot and he'll just slide, maybe he'll slide across the frame. What this does is it allows much more flexibility for George Lucas and Dave Filoni to develop the story, to develop the angles, the cutting, the camera moves of the show. Basically, they go through that process and come up with a finalized 3D story reel. That's all produced in the US. That's what's sent over here, and that's where the animation department starts with.
And That's IT got the inside scoop of this pipeline process. Being an animator means being an entertainer, or the opportunity to role play. Animators need to take the sterile movements computers create and tweak it to ensure it looks more realistic.
I can put as many keys in there as I need, or I can tweak the curves, which means I'll have this one, I have this one, and I have this one. And then there's a curve that the computer sees. That's the way the computer sees everything, is in curves. We can manipulate those curves, and I can push them around and make the character move at a certain timing, make them move faster, make them move slower.
From animation, the clip is sent over to the cloth department. Here, Yoda's trademark cloth is brought to life.
Well, what we do is we input values to tell the computer what kind of qualities we want in the cloak, in terms of, like, do we want to look like leather, do we want to look like cotton, do we want to look like wool? Put it into the computer, run it through, and the end result comes out like this. And what we need to take care of is wind, weight, style, collisions between the tank and Yoda.
Next stop, the effects department, where all the bells and whistles are added.
We use a different tool set to be able to basically simulate, do a simulation of natural phenomena. Say basically we want 100 sparks to come from here, set up gravity, set up their initial velocity, their initial color, things like this, and emit sparks, and then gravity will allow them to fall.
And finally, we need lights.
We take the characters as they come from animation and relight them in the most advantageous way, kind of like you would do it in a real live action shoot. Here in this example of Yoda in this shot, this is a pass that basically only contains the texture information without any light information. You don't know where the light is coming from in this shot, and that's because we have the light broken down in a separate pass. This pass is the one that contains the lights, and you can see the red, green, blue color. They allow us to isolate individual light sources, and we can adjust the intensity and the color of those lights individually without having to go back and reshoot.
Besides the Clone Wars series, Lucasfilm Singapore also works on Hollywood blockbusters, such as the recent Transformers and Star Trek, under George Lucas's visual effects company, ILM. And they also produce the Clone Wars games for Nintendo. But animating games, now that is a whole new ball game.
What you run into in the interactive space is you have to have that ability where if a user is driving a car in a movie, you know exactly what's going to happen between point A and point B. If a user is driving a car in a game, you don't always know. They may go over, they may want to run into a building, they may want to get out of the car, they may want to run around, they may want to do spins. So you have to allow the environment to give that freedom to the user, but you always have to maintain that realism and maintain the fiction within the game.
Chris Thompson says gaming is a $50 billion industry on the software side, and it is the fastest growing entertainment industry compared to both music and films, thanks to its ability to move on to different mediums, from your TV to your mobile to your Facebook account. Meanwhile, back at Scroll Studios, the creators of Nanoboy are working hard at making their mark on the animation world with their second season animated series, The Adventures of Nanoboy. All that's left is to get the animation voiced and sounds inserted, including every little sound effect, such as this flipping book. The team watches the clips sent over from China, carefully noting down all discrepancies before sending them back to get it fixed.
You're a virus.
What can you tell us about and then it's done.
What? Just because I'm a virus doesn't make me an expert. I'm not that kind of virus.
Well, it's time for my favorite part of the show, DIY It. And this week, we're going to do something even I don't know how to do, so we're going to seek professional help inside. It's all about animation, and it's time to put my drawing skills to the test. Okay, drawing is not one of my strongest points in school, so I'm here to learn with Jasno. Jasno is the animation department head here at DigiPen Institute. You're behind some of our favorite Disney animations. Show me what we're going to do today.
Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to go beyond this part and we're going to just talk about just raw animation. So in this case, this is going to be a really fast animation. This is a typical walk cycle. So if you're going to build a walk cycle, you're going to start with what we call a contact position. Now it's really up to you which leg you want contacting first. So if this arm's in the front, this leg's in the back.
Jasno showed me how a typical walk cycle was drawn with careful attention to physics. Before I knew it, he had created an animation, and it looked good. This was easy, or so I thought. But Jasno told me that an animation was more than just these key poses, and what was needed to make an animation smooth was an in-between.
What exactly is an in-between?
Well, 90% of any traditional movie is going to be in-betweens, because when we're animating, we're essentially animating keys. But most of the drawings are making the finished action more fluid.
Okay.
So your challenge is to exactly halfway in between each of these body parts is to approximate his position.
Definitely. But we can't even see the in-between stuff.
That's the problem with animation. If you look down into your popcorn bag and you look back up, you missed 2 months of work.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go to the other room and see how this is all put together using a computer.
The way that I always tell people to think of 3D software is kind of like you're doing a stage production. For me to see that three-dimensional world, a lot of the software allows me to see it from different perspectives. So here's the top, the front, here's from the left side, and this is sort of a perspective view.
I decided to put my new skill set to work and recreate the walking man on 3D. First, the head. Next up, the eyes.
Because it's a three-dimensional environment, you have to check all the views. From the front, it looks okay, but from the top, it's actually in the middle of the sphere, and that's why we don't see it here. So what we have to do is we have to take that and move it out.
All right, Raymond, thank you very much for showing me this. I'm going to try and play around with it. And you guys watching at home, you can catch what I did at the end of the show. All right, we're going to take a break now. When we return, it's Gadgets War, and we put 2 e-readers to the test, the Kindle and the Sony. That's coming up next.
Badly bruised, but still in the game, the Japanese Prime Minister suffers 2 attacks by the nation's increasingly powerful opposition. Are there more political punches coming Taro Aso's way? That's on Primetime News.
Business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
Well, in that case, welcome, my friends.
Probably the best beer experience in the world. Carlsberg. It doesn't get any better than this.
Nestled in the heart of Southeast Asia, Malaysia is a powerhouse on the rise. At the forefront of innovation and technology, the globalized nation is looking to expand beyond the region.
A lot of Malaysian individuals or companies have outgrown Malaysia. We have to go and step onto the world stage to make ourselves heard.
Find out how the country is expanding through its various prospective sectors in Malaysia Moves Forward. Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Malaysia Moves Forward is brought to you by these sponsors.
Have you lost money from bad investments? Are you afraid to invest? Then learn free from investment experts. Come to Asian Investment Conference and Exhibition. Learn about investment strategies from experts and meet leading listed companies. Don't miss this opportunity to diagnose your financial health and have fun playing investment games. 18th to 19th July at Hall 601 Suntec Convention Center. Admission is free.
While the rest of the world sleeps,
Good morning,
Asia rises. Serving up your daily dose of news, business and entertainment. Primetime Morning, weekdays from 6:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. on Channel News Asia.
Singapore actress Melody Chen is probably one of the few people in town to own a Kindle. A what? Well, it is an electronic reader. The Kindle 2 is the second generation of e-readers launched by Amazon.com. Only available in America, the 3G wireless device is supposed to let you download books and periodicals anytime, anywhere.
It's a nifty product, you know. I can read digital books on it, and it's very clear. I mean, it's got this new technology with the digital ink. I tend to read a few different books sometimes because I get bored easily. So instead of having 10 real books, I have 10 books in the Kindle in my bag, so I can just switch whenever I want.
Though blissfully happy with her ebook, That's IT puts her love to the test by asking her to test drive a worthy competitor, the Sony e-reader, for a weekend. The Sony e-reader PRS 505 is thin and sleek. It also uses the same e-ink technology as the Kindle. Books are transferred via USB, and this e-reader is capable of reading several formats, including PDF. Like the Kindle, the Sony e-reader is not available in this region. And I wonder why. But first things first, we ask Melody which one makes for a better read.
With the Sony, the buttons, the main buttons or all the buttons that you really need are on the left side. So I'm a right-hander, but I like to hold my book on the left side. So with it flipped open and my thumb is right there, it has the button to bookmark the book, pages, and a zooming. That's basically all I needed. Whereas for the Kindle, because the buttons are at the side, when I need to flip, I'm actually using my right hand to turn the pages. And if I need to bookmark, I have to use the little cursor to go up, select, menu, bookmark, add bookmark, and that's it. So it's like 3-4 steps more.
On a scale of 1 to 5 books, with 5 being the perfect score, Melody rates the Sony 4, while the Kindle comes in at 3.
Although Amazon does allow like a local credit card when you buy other stuff through Amazon, but for Kindle books, they needed a US credit card. So I don't have one. And either you get a friend who has a US credit card to do it for you, or you just buy a gift card. But they have such a wide directory of books. The Sony e-reader, the e-books for that, it's not as extensive as Amazon.
Both books get a 4 out of 5. What the Sony e-reader has in convenience, it lacks in collection.
Charging for both the e-reader and the Kindle has a special wire. But the e-reader uses the USB, the smaller one, not the 2.0, but the smaller one. So it's quite a general wire. So should you misplace it, it's okay. You can always get one off the rack. But I think for the Kindle, it's quite specialized.
While the Amazon does score high in terms of additional features with its dictionary feature and note-taking capabilities, there's not much point since its wireless features are only available to users in the US. While on the other hand, the Sony e-reader isn't as feature-packed. Its sleek design and ease of use for non-American users makes it the winner of this Gadgets War.
So you never know, maybe if someone wants to buy my Kindle, I might just opt over for a Sony e-reader.
And for those with e-readers, the Singapore National Library has more than 600,000 titles available for downloading free. Emmy Award-winning visual effects artist Lee Stringer is the man behind popular series Battlestar Galactica and Clone Wars. Lee has been in Singapore for the past 8 months, which has been a boon for his gadget obsession. And that would be cameras. That's right, plural. Lee has 12, and he shows That's IT 5 from his collection.
You can only really go down about 10 meters before the light kind of kills you. I don't have one of the big, expensive, fancy ones yet that has all the lights, but that's on the shopping list. This is very old, but it's quite rugged and it's still reliable. Uses tape. I like to do short films. So this is a high definition, it's called 24p. 24p means that it's shooting very similar to how a film camera shoots. So there's a distinct difference between video and film. Film is capturing an image slightly different to what video does. And so this camera is designed to take images closer to what a film would look like.
This gadget fetish isn't all play for Lee. It helps him get better at his job.
My job is visual effects. Visual effects is basically creating images often that aren't real, or adding to images that have been filmed, and then we have to add computer or miniature effects on top of those. So understanding how those images were created in the first place is really, really important. What lenses were used by the filmmakers or the photographer, and then matching those lenses in the computer.
A filmmaker in his spare time, Lee's hobby constantly reminds him to root his computer creations in reality.
One of the things that bugs me a lot of times you see in computer-generated films are cameras that just move and sweep and swing around and do all sorts of things that you couldn't really do with a real camera. And while you can do it in the computer, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should. I always tell students to take up photography if they're interested in doing visual effects.
For now, inspiration both for work and play seems abundant with Asia outside his door. One of his favorites from his collection, a photo of the Singapore skyline at night.
That's all we have for you this week, but next week, do join us for Cyber Gaming. I'm Timothy Go. That's it. And do stay until the end of the credits to see our finished animation.
Tumigil ka na, wala ka ng patutuhan yan.
Or will it? These guys earn over 25 grand a year playing video games. Could my mama have been wrong?
Catch me on the last episode of That's IT as we look into the world of gaming right here in Asia. Give me a second while I'll try to nail this one down.
On July 4th, a sold-out crowd attended a Channel News Asia and Raffles Hospital seminar on abdominal and colorectal health, titled Serious Belly Matters.
Today we have talked about the common conditions of, colorectal cancer, hemorrhoids, chronic abdominal pain, and acute abdominal pain. These are common conditions and they are very relevant to Singaporeans.
Audiences were educated on the modern treatments available for common digestive diseases by 4 esteemed surgeons.
This seminar is useful because a lot of